Hello, hello. Oh. Hello. Hello, everyone. Oh. I'm here. I see you guys. Don't worry, we've still got plenty of time until the quali actually starts. So always go live a little bit earlier so we have that. Respect my time, mate. When you got a 10-month-old, you can't have a schedule. Can't. Yeah, thankfully it was all contained within the nappy. Bless her, she's got a little bit of a dodgy belly at the moment, so very smelly. But yeah. Just as I was putting her down and I was about to come onto the PC, I was like, ah, I can smell that. So, all good though, everyone, all good. She's happy as Larry. She is playing at the moment. She may have to make an appearance on stream again. But yes, I'm doing very well, thank you guys. Not long until we have sprint quali get underway. Just waiting for the live timing to become available. As always, normally around 15 minutes beforehand, it becomes free to us. So, yeah, we will switch scenes when that becomes available. But yeah, let's see who's going to qualify on pole, eh? Who's going to qualify on pole? YouTube hit the alert for a minute. Unbelievable, Anne. Unbelievable. Lewis or Schumacher? For me, it's always been Lewis. Because I remember more of Lewis's performances more so than Schumacher. Because I was a little toddler when Schumi was at his pomp. So, well, not quite a toddler, but still a lot younger. I'm doing 8 gifted for 8 minutes delay. But oh, really? Oh, when have you come to that agreement? I'm doing very well, thank you, everyone. Though, can you smell what she's cooking? It is me feeding her as well, actually, at the moment. So, yeah, as I said, on paternity leave, the missus is working from home today. So she is. I am in full control, and yes, I do have an eye on her. Although the missus has got one eye on her as well, so there's still technically a pair of eyes on her. Right. Oh, I do have 5 gifted. I have 5 left. So there you go. There's 5 gifted. It's random, so if you've been fortunate enough to receive a free gifted sub there or membership, welcome. Thank you for 50k last time around, so thank you. Busy weekend for me. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is busy. I've got to go around my sister's as well this weekend. It's her birthday, so yeah, we're busy. All around, of course, F1 though. So tomorrow evening. Max for pole. Yeah, let's have a look at the results at the shall we at the moment. So thank you for everyone tuning in. We are just waiting for the live data. So at the moment, 39% of you think Piastri will be on pole position. Looking at the TV coverage, it is still sunny out there. It's still sunny. So, Spa weather. So it is. Ooh, I think we're going to get away with it. We're going to get away with it in the at Spa today. It's the rain is going to arrive after the session ends, and then tomorrow is looking like it may be dry as well. But then Sunday is like heavy rain by the looks of it. So dry today and potentially tomorrow, but then that spices things up for Sunday. So who did you vote for, Rob? Who did you vote for? Did I say that, Ald? Did I? I'll have to review it. So almost midnight, Glenn. Well, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. As always, from wherever you are in the world, yes, sprint race weekend. If you're just tuning in and missed FP1, not really too much to write home about. The Piastri topped the timing screens. Lando Norris was third because he made a trip to the gravel on his lap. Interestingly, that you could easily tell from the sector times and from the top speeds that Max was definitely running lower downforce. They have a new front wing on the car as well, which looks like it's... He was complaining about front end turning, which you're going to get if you're running lower downforce. But the new front wing also looks like it's a trimmed front wing as well to give him that extra top speed, which he was the fastest. So going to be intriguing to see how it pans out from a racing perspective, because it's a strong race setup, but maybe not a strong quali setup as the McLarens were quickest overall. But yeah, that's going to leave them vulnerable if they're running more downforce, and they're going to be slower in the top speed areas, which a lot of this track is all about your power and your top speed. 70% of it is on full throttle, so a lot for the other teams to do in relation to, I say, catching up on lap time to McLaren. But if they can get ahead of them, as we know at the start of the race, that McLaren isn't always necessarily the quickest in dirty air, and if it's got a lot of downforce on the car, it's going to be tricky to overtake those that are quick in a straight line. So no, it's okay, Rob. 2 hours sleep. Okay, 2 hours sleep. Well, little one should still be asleep right now, to be fair to her, but she decided an hour was only enough for her afternoon nap. So, yes, not great, not great. Always race up is better. We saw Max get pole last time, but it wasn't a race up, so it died. To an extent, however, Silverstone is one where you always expected... You more so want track position, because it's a bit more difficult to overtake at the start of the race. Whereas Spa, there's a prime overtaking spot down into turn 5, where those who are on the quicker setup, I say on the quicker top speed setup, they can properly close in on those who are running more downforce. So we saw earlier on that there was a top speed, so 346 kilometers an hour for Verstappen compared to Piastri's 340. Now, with, of course, battery modes and engines turned up, that could be even a wider gap. Norris was 338, especially when DRS is activated itself as well. So, yeah. But McLaren have always done this. McLaren have always run a more downforce-dependent setup. That's the kind of approach that they've had for the majority of this season. Because they know they've got the fastest car, so they go for track position on qualifying. They start more often than not up front, and yeah, never look back, really. They don't have to worry about people overtaking them. So, right. Hey, Corn, you're from South Africa. Spa is your all-time favourite. Max to the win tomorrow. Well, we'll see. And yes, Spa is a favourite of many, myself included. Hopefully, we have an interesting weekend ahead of us, and we're not far away, 10 minutes away from qualifying getting underway. Now, remember, FP1. Qualifying 1 and qualifying 2 in the sprint quali is on the medium compound tyre. So that could have an effect here. Of course, it's going to be a very busy track as well. But the medium compound tyre, that means drivers are going to be able to stay out there for multiple laps to do laps. Whereas normally in normal quali modes, you see them do one lap, come in after like a single push lap. So we're going to see a busy track out there. We're also going to see, obviously, the tow be very beneficial here as well at Spa, as it has always been utilised. But some teams may be better on the medium than they are necessarily on the soft, as we've seen the soft compound tyre at some circuits struggle to stay within the right performance and temperature window and fall off towards the end. So, but that's only for those who have to worry about that in Q3. But yeah, we'll see if there's any shocks. Sometimes we have seen shocks in those not making it through in sprint quali, and also we've seen shocks in relation to pole position, Miami, Kimi Antonelli, Lewis Hamilton in China. So yeah, there's definitely potential for shock here this weekend. Competition is always good in F1 gaming, yes. I mean, look, while it is just the McLarens who are the outright fastest at the moment, at least we do have 2 drivers in that team that are fighting it out. It could so easily have been a Max Verstappen situation again, where Max is the clear fastest driver and no one is able to fight with him, least of all his teammates. So thankfully, yeah, we do at least have a competitive championship to keep us interested. And there are the odd race here and there as well, where we do see, of course, McLaren not be the quickest, which also spices things up for the championship. Spa rules, Lee. I agree. Circuit must be very orange there with all the Max fans. I haven't actually seen too much of the TV footage earlier, to be completely honest with you. My focus was more so on Little One, and the although I do have the TV coverage on my phone here, yeah, I wasn't focused on it so much. Max will be rapid. Think he'll be on pole and Oscar second. I actually don't think... So I think, personally, what we'll see here, if it all plays out as I think it's going to play out, which it probably won't, I think Norris and Piastri will be front row, and I think Verstappen will be second. I think from what we saw earlier, Charles Leclerc looks pretty decent, and there's improvements there for the Ferrari as well. They were bottoming it out. They were porpoising a little bit, which was costing them a bit of time in quite a few of the corners. So there's improvements to be made by Ferrari. Hopefully they've sorted that out. If that's the case, then I think Charles Leclerc could be up there. That's if Lewis Hamilton wants to... That's if, of course, Lewis and Charles run in similar setups. Charles did seem to have the better of Lewis. But, yeah, we'll see. I said it in the FP2 stream. Okay, Ald. I will, mate. I will. We'll do it after this. At least 2023 was bad. I like Max, by the way. Yeah, look, you always want competition, I think. Even if it's inter-team. It's more fun for everyone. Is there any difference between sprint quali and, well, regular quali? The only difference is that the sessions are slightly shorter in the sprint quali. So the first session here is 12 minutes, second session 10 minutes, and then 8 minutes for the last one, which pretty much means that the last quali is a single lap shootout. That's pretty much kind of how it pans out here. They used to call it sprint shootout for that reason, but yes. And of course, the big difference is that Q1 and Q2 has to be on the medium compound tyre. That's the big difference between main quali. The main quali is slightly longer, although it does reduce in time slightly. I think the first quali is 18 minutes, and then it reduces down to 15 minutes. I could be wrong there, guys. But yeah, primarily each team gets at least, and each driver gets at minimum 2 runs each in every session in the main quali, whereas in sprint quali, it's medium compound in Q1 and Q2, and then a 1 lap sprint shootout. 1 lap shootout in the final one, which does make it interesting. So, where was Max in Silverstone Friday? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Look, I still think, I don't know, unless Max finds a considerable amount of time in that middle sector, while it's a very low downforce dependent setup and it'll be good to hold cars behind in the race, I think pole position here is more of a tall order than it was at Silverstone. Now people will be going, don't write you off, Scott, you're already writing him off. But unless they have maybe bolted on a different front wing and he's able to find a little bit more downforce in the middle sector, I think that top speed that he's got, where he was quick in the first and last sector, there's going to have to be some sort of sacrifice there in performance in the top speed sections to gain time in the middle sector. I don't think he's going to be able to find a complete overall gain. Could be wrong, but that's my assessment of it. Hey Jackie, good to see you. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back. Not long to go till sprint quali starts. We had FP1, bit uneventful. Nothing really to write home about. Of course, lots of drivers out there just using the hard compound tyre. Some use the medium. So yeah, not really too much to write home about. I don't know why the icons are moving there to the old pit lane where Albon's icon is, and Alonso and Antonelli. Cheeky Alonso getting a head start, eh? He's at the old pit lane exit. Softs are useless here. Mediums are only good for quali. Hards will be favourite this weekend, in your opinion. I disagree, because the hard compound tyre is the C1, so it will last long, but it's not necessarily going to be a quick tyre. And the pit lane and it's one thing I actually excluded from my preview video, is that the pit lane lost time here is actually not that long. It's only around 18 to 19 seconds. So that's why, even though it's a very long lap here, the amount of overall time that you lose in the pit lane means that a 2-stop is a lot more viable. So the soft compound tyre, I think we will see used here if it's dry on Sunday. That's a big if, and it does last for a single lap. And you're better off, the amount of time that you probably lose on the hard compound tyre overall compared to a quicker, softer, medium or soft tyre at the end of the race is better. So that's the whole reason why they've done this skipping of the tyre compounds. That's why they've done the whole skipping of the tyre compounds this weekend, which unfortunately the weather seems like it's going to get in the way of us seeing how that would actually play out. But it's to try and ensure that there's more potential overtaking and more opportunity for a 2-stop this year. So, hey Gavin, I'm doing very well. Thank you, mate. I'm doing very well. Can you finish the line in the pit lane in a race? No, you cannot. No, that's if you do that, it's a disqualification. You're a Max fan, as you said. Run him off a pole. Forget pole. He ain't getting front row. The car is a tractor. It's not a tractor by any means. It isn't a tractor. It is not as quick as the McLarens, though. There are certain circumstances it can be quicker than the McLarens, as we saw in Silverstone. But this track, as I mentioned, it's the nature of the corners are very different to Silverstone, especially that middle sector. So, and that's where Max in particular was struggling. He lost a lot of time in FP1. I can't imagine he's going to find an overall gain, because I don't think Max would want to lose that top speed. That's the thing here. Does he want to gain a bit of time in the middle sector for sacrificing top speed, where he's probably his only opportunity at winning the sprint race and winning the race on Sunday? Obviously, there's wet weather conditions coming in, so you don't know. But in particular, the sprint race tomorrow is an opportunity to try and draft past and slingshot himself past both McLarens with that additional top speed that he has down into turn 5 at the end of the Kemmel Straight, Lake Hulme. So what is happening with Yuki? He isn't even trying anymore. Yuki's definitely trying. But we just know that car is very difficult for anyone else but Max Verstappen to drive. He is also not getting the same updates at the same time as Verstappen, although the updates are probably not going to help Yuki so much in balancing that car. But yeah, look, Yuki's in a sticky situation, isn't he? Where that car is just super difficult to drive, and it's just proven what we all thought, that the car is that second seat is a bit of a poison chalice. So. It's 44 laps is the race, yes, 44 laps. So it is the longest track on the calendar, the longest lap time on the calendar. Lap times roughly in race trim are around 144, anything from 144s to 146s. And then if you've got wet weather conditions, then yeah, the lap times can be pushed up to over the 2-minute range. So that's why we also, key factor as to why George Russell lost his win last year, disqualification-wise. We do not have an in-lap here. Now, when you hear it, you hear normally, have you ever heard them go on the radio, pick up please, when after they congratulate them at the end of a race? That's because they're picking up marbles, they're picking up, obviously, all the discarded rubber to add weight back to the tyres and to the car. Because George Russell, clearly Mercedes overestimated the amount of weight that they were going to burn on those hard compound tyres, and without that in-lap, George was 1 kilogram underweight, and that's why he got disqualified. So yes, big factor here as to why we saw not many do the one stop last year, and why George's win in the end was removed from him. So is a sprint race a 25 lap race? I think it's around 17 to 18. So whatever, you guys can do the maths for me off the top of your head. I think it's a third of the distance. So whatever a third of 44 laps is. So that will be 16 laps, something like that. Is it 16 laps? 18 laps? So yeah, it's a third of the distance, I think. 17, 18, it's around that mark, isn't it? So, which is why also, as I've mentioned a few times already, this is why also we see a change up of the grid as well, because with you starting with arguably 35 kilograms of fuel rather than 100 kilograms of fuel, whatever, at 33.33 kilograms, whatever it is, like it's a third of the fuel in the car, you can have a starting ride height that is a lot lower than you normally would have in the race. So that's why we have seen the likes of Mercedes do a lot better, Ferrari do a lot better, and nick pole positions and do a lot better in the sprint race format than they have in the overall race itself. So maybe we'll see something of the like again here today. So it's 15 laps. 15 laps. Okay, cool. Does the car weight include the driver? I think it does. Can't remember. Does it or exclude it? They have a minimum weight that they have to be at as well, which I think is 83 kilos. So I think their weight is added to it. Yeah. So because obviously they all get weighed at the end of the race with all their kit on. So yeah, is it yes or no? No. Is it no? Okay, fair enough. But I know that they have a minimum weight that they have to adhere to as well. I think it got added, I think it got increased this year to 83. I could be wrong, but it's around the 80 kilogram mark, which is light. Yeah, includes driver, that is minimum for the driver as well. There we go. There we go. So, right, here we go. 1 minute, 25 seconds until SQ1 gets underway. Who is going to go out here? Who has looked like they've struggled? Colapinto looked like he struggled, as did Gasly in the Alpine. I didn't see really too much from the RB cars. Lance Stroll, of course, loves to go out in a Q1 session, so never rule him out for a Q1 exit. Carlos Sainz got very minimal running, of course, with a power unit issue on the first outlap of the session, so he missed half of that session this morning, sorry. So we'll see how he fares. Of course, he needs to get on top of that Williams, doesn't he? Because he's getting absolutely trounced by Albon in the performance at the moment this season. How will the Ferraris get on with their new parts? We will see. Not long to go. 40 seconds, guys. Here we go. Do I think the McLaren car will dominate in 2026? No. I am not putting any stock into any team for 2026, to be honest with you, because I think it's a literally complete unknown. More so than any other set of regulations that we've had in the past. So yeah, who knows what 2026 is going to provide for us? I think the one thing we can all hope for is that it's close competition, and I don't want any team to dominate and run away with it, to be honest with you. I just want there to be close competition. So be sure to subscribe or else Nightbot will be angry. Exactly, yeah, we're trying to hit 55,000 subs now, as we hit 50,000 last weekend. We actually hit 51,000, but we had a few people unsubscribe in the last couple of weeks because they clearly thought F1 had finished. But no, we are back. It is green light. Pit exit is open, and no one has decided to leave the pit lane at the end of this session, at the start of this session. So there we go. There we go. But I do suspect that this is the thing. It's a very long lap here. The outlap is quite long. You're probably looking at easily a 2 minute, over a 2 minute outlap, considering the fastest laps we're going to see here on the mediums are probably like the high 140s. So yeah, let's see what the drivers are going to... How many laps are they going to be able to get in? Can they get 2 push laps in on the same set of mediums? You'd suspect they can. You can suspect that there is plenty of opportunity for 2 push laps here on a set of mediums. But drivers leaving the pit lane now. Isaac Hadjar. So yeah, everyone will be on the mediums. There's no softs in SQ1 or SQ2. The softs only come out in SQ3. So yes, drivers making their way out there now. Hadjar, Nico Hulkenberg. Can he score another podium this weekend? We will see. We will see. 4 races in a row now he has scored points. Not a fluke by Nico Hulkenberg, although he does like a poor qualifying. If Nico Hulkenberg goes out in SQ1, you can be guaranteed that he's going to score points, because that's what he's done every single time in the last 4 races. He started in the bottom 5 and scored points, including a podium. So if Lando wins the sprint, he wins 8 points. Yes. So the points scoring positions in sprint races, which I don't particularly like, are only the top 8. And no, sorry, he scores... Yeah, he does only score 8 points. I always think it's 10. So yeah, only the top 8 score points, and it's 1 point difference between each position. So unlike the main race where there's 7 points between first and second, there is only 1 point difference between first and second each place, each finishing position, but only the top 8 score points, which is utterly ridiculous in my opinion. They should increase it. And yeah, the main race, of course, is normal points on a sprint race weekend. So, oh dear, incident involving Hulkenberg and Lawson, an unsafe release. So that's not overly good. So I'm brave wearing that shirt. No, fine, I'm fine. Got to break the curse at some point. Is the countdown wrong? No, the countdown's absolutely fine. I removed the countdown now, so it's all good. It's all good. It's a good weekend when F1 is at Spa. I agree. I agree. Right, so here we go. Here we go. So Isaac Hadjar is the driver who is going to be first across the line. We'll keep an eye on him and see how he fares. Looking for a much better performance. And of course, Silverstone, where he failed to finish after hitting the rear of Kimi Antonelli in those treacherous conditions, which we are expecting again here this weekend. But it does look like it's going to be dry for this sprint quali and the sprint and all of tomorrow, depending on which weather report you look at. But Isaac Hadjar making his way through La Source all the way down through the famous Eau Rouge, which isn't even a corner now these days in modern F1, but still a joy to watch cars go at full tilt through here. Making his way now through the Kemmel Straight, where there is one of 2 DRS zones here. As you can see, his DRS indicator has been opened and is highlighted there. Making his way down into the braking zone of Lacoum Turn 5, as Lawson is told, what the hell was that, with Nico Hulkenberg being released into his path. But Hadjar, is he going to catch a bit of traffic? It looks like he is going to. Let's see how he fares, as Hulkenberg has gone 3 tenths quicker, or yeah, 2 tenths quicker basically than Isaac Hadjar in that first sector. But is Isaac Hadjar running a little bit more downforce to ensure that he gets more peak performance in the middle sector, as his teammate Liam Lawson is also quicker than Hadjar at the moment. He's looking for a good weekend after a poor showing at Silverstone after his best ever performance in F1 in the Red Bull Ring. But Hadjar making his way now through Stavlo Turn 14, where we've already seen Ollie Bearman and Lando Norris make little trips to the gravel through there, as he makes his way now down the back section of Spa circuit, Spa-Francorchamps, making his way through the famous Blanchimont corner through turn 17, flat out through here for him into the braking zone of turn 18, as we are starting to see sub 30 seconds from Esteban Ocon in the first sector. Esteban Ocon, Haas were quite quick as well in that FP1 session, so can they follow that performance with a decent quali here, as Isaac Hadjar does a 42.7. Wow, there's me saying I thought we'd see the higher 40s. No, we're actually seeing low 40s. A 42.7 for Isaac Hadjar, as Nico Hulkenberg has a very slow middle sector. So for all the time he gained in the first sector, he lost it all in the middle, as Liam Lawson slots in him to P2 behind his teammate with a 42.89, as Bortoletto goes in just behind Hadjar. Well, you can see there the setup differences, most notably with that top speed difference. Hadjar much slower in the first sector compared to Stake F1, but then it equaling itself out in the middle sector, where that downforce on the RB car, on these cars running a little bit more wing, the track time or lap time comes back to them. Ollie Bearman with a fastest last sector there, but unable to make it. Oh, he's actually lost it. Turn 4, lap 3. He's had his lap time deleted there, Ollie Bearman, so he is going to drop out there, and he's going to be at risk of dropping out with only one more lap probably available to him, with a very long cool-down lap required here. But Ollie Bearman, even with that last sector time, you can see a 44.8 in the middle sector. So they're very quick in the middle and last sector, but the middle sector is where these low downforce runners are losing a considerable amount of time. So we'll see how that plays out for them, as George Russell goes top, but only by 600ths of a second from Isaac Hadjar, who is P2. Colapinto goes last at the moment, so both Alpines very slow, as Kimi Antonelli had a moment in the last sector there. A 50-second last sector for Kimi Antonelli means that he is going to have a very long wait now until he makes his way round to the to the start-finish line again. Lewis Hamilton's didn't set a decent lap, nearly really did Charles Leclerc, but Lando Norris was going fastest in the middle sector, but it was taken away from his teammate by 2 tenths. So Lando Norris down a bit compared to his teammate Albon up into P9. Let's see what Lando Norris can do. Is Lando Norris going to go quick enough here? He's currently only 10th fastest in the first sector, but they are 1 and 2 in the second sector. And you can see there, oh my God, they are so much quicker than everyone else in that middle sector, the McLarens. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. As Piastri puts 3 tenths on his teammate there, they are first and second in the second sector by a good. Norris is 4 tenths quicker than Hadjar in P3 in the second sector. Piastri is 6 tenths quicker than Isaac Hadjar in the middle sector, as Lance Stroll has gone second fastest in the first sector. So the McLaren's really recuperating that time in the middle sector and the last sector as well, which does require, there are a couple of corners there, of course, turn 15 and the bus stop chicane itself, which does require some decent downforce to be available to you. But Max Verstappen, third fastest in the middle sector. He's quite quick in the first sector as well. This could be a threat here for Verstappen, getting on to provisional top in SQ1. So let's see how he fares. Has he added a little bit more downforce to that Red Bull that he was struggling in the middle sector on in FP1, as he does indeed go and split the 2 McLarens, just like he did in FP1. As Russell says, lost a load of time with that gravel. That McLaren has alien technology. Massive. Was it a spin for Kimi? Was it? Was it a massive spin? Yeah, I haven't. My TV coverage hasn't picked it up, or at least I didn't see it. But Lance Stroll, let's see how Lance Stroll fares. Does he want to go out in Q1 again? Surely not, but he's got a slow middle sector of 44.5. That is not a very good middle sector, and it only moves him up into P6. How about Fernando Alonso? How is he faring? He is currently quicker than that of his teammates, but not in the first sector. Stroll is actually quicker in that first sector, but only by a few hundredths of a second, as Alonso, with the fastest last sector at 28.0, puts himself into P4. So Kimi Antonelli is the only driver out there at the moment who will be on a push lap, as he is yet to set an actual lap. But while he is doing that, let me just show you the sector leaderable times after that first run. And well, you can see here, as I mentioned, Piastri 10th and Norris 13th in the first sector. Not by much, but still 10th and 13th in the first sector. But look at that second sector times. Look how much quicker they are than, say, Charles Leclerc and George Russell. Unbelievable amount of time they're sticking on the rest of the field there. Max Verstappen, though, as we mentioned, probably put a bit of more downforce on that front wing, or maybe they've changed the front wing. I haven't seen it yet. And then we can see in the last sector a bit better from the McLarens, a lot closer to being fastest, but where top speed is still, of course, very influential. Norris a bit off of his teammates' pace at this early stage in qualifying. So yeah, very interesting. He spun into Stavlo, which put the gravel on the track. Fair enough, fair enough. What happened to Hamilton in the last sector? Don't know. Probably something similar where he went through the gravel. Yeah, had a moment, maybe a lock-up. 28.8 is not good by any means. 8 tenths back. So, yeah, lots to do for Lewis Hamilton, considering he was half a second off of his teammates' last sector time there. That would have put him comfortably, not comfortably ahead of Leclerc, put him very close to Leclerc, sorry, because there's 7 tenths separating them. So, yeah, lots of improvement for lots of drivers out there. We do expect this track to ramp up as well as the sessions progress. Nearly 40-degree track temperature at the moment, so not overly hot. We have seen it hotter at other circuits, but let's see how they fare. So, who is on their lap at the moment? It was Kimi Antonelli, wasn't it, who was on a push lap, unless he is dived back into the pit lane. No, Kimi Antonelli is doing a second lap, second cool-down lap as well. But with 1 minute 30 remaining, the drivers who are out there now, that is it for them. So Piastri, Verstappen and Norris are happy with their lap times, understandably, with the 1:42s, and Piastri, the only driver in the sub 1:42 second range. But we have drivers out there now on their last attempts here, so let's see how they fare. Currently it's Hamilton, Gasly, Colapinto, Antonelli and Behrman in the drop zone, so we'll see how they get on. But Yuki Tsunoda, who is currently 13th, does a green first sector for him, so that's an improvement, and that puts him 1,000th of a second behind Max Verstappen in that first sector, so a big improvement there for Yuki Tsunoda. Let's see if he can carry on that speed through the middle sector as he makes his way through No Name. How about Lance Stroll? He is the next driver. He's a bit slower than his fastest first sector because he was sub 30 seconds. So that first sector there, not that quick for him. He can go quicker. We'll see how he fares. Turn incident involving Gasly and Tsunoda has been noted for impeding Gasly, the former teammates, the RB teammates. As Fernando Alonso has just gone purple in the first sector at 29.955. Has he maybe benefited from a cheeky little toe there from the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli, who is currently down in 19th place and has only done a 30.355. So Kimi Antonelli at massive risk here of dropping out in SQ1. Gasly is green. Colapinto is green. There's lots of greens across the board here as drivers are finishing or starting their last final lap, as Bortoletto will be the last driver to cross the checkered flag there with 2 seconds remaining. But Yuki Tsunoda, let's see how he fares. Where is he? He's 13th at the moment, but he's at a slow middle sector. Yuki Tsunoda's had a bit of a slow middle sector. It's only an improvement by 1 position up into P12. Yuki Tsunoda potentially at risk here, with lots of drivers all out there now, other than the top 3 of Piastri, Verstappen and Norris, not going out there to set a second lap time, as Fernando Alonso has bowed out of that middle sector. Is that by choice? Did he have a mistake there, Fernando Alonso? A 53-second middle sector is not good for him, as Charles Leclerc crosses the line and cannot improve his overall lap time because he did a 1:42.9 last time around. So Charles Leclerc, not very good from him. Lewis Hamilton, a 44.2 in the middle sector. The first sector was slower than last time around by a tenth, so we'll see how he fares. He is at risk and currently in P16 at the moment, but there are lots of green sectors across the board, as you can see. Gasly improving. Colapinto did improve, but he's not good enough, so he's out. And we see Antonelli's out, and there is a yellow. Where's a yellow? As Lewis Hamilton has spun, I think, in the bus stop chicane. Oh, he's gone through, and Lewis Hamilton is out of SQ1 at Spa. The former winner, the winner here last year in the Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton is out, and there is a yellow in the bus stop chicane, and that's going to throw a spanner in the works to Alex Albon. That's going to throw a spanner in the works for Ollie Bearman as well, as they are making their way through. Is it still a yellow flag? It says it's green at the moment, although Lewis Hamilton's icon is still there. Let's see how Bearman fares. Can he improve? He can improve, Ollie Bearman, but a yellow flag has now been thrown. So has Ollie Bearman been shafted by another caution there, as Albon does improve, but only up into P16. Still waiting to see exactly what happened with Lewis Hamilton, as I'm watching the replay now to see exactly what occurred. You can see his icon there. Is he stricken, or has he actually been able to make his way back into the pit lane? And Lewis Hamilton did indeed... What are they doing? They've caught him spinning through the bus stop chicane. I'm not entirely sure what he's done. And I think he's just parked the car on the inside of the bus stop chicane there, and he's turned the engine off, and that'll be, we'll have to wait a little while. We'll probably be able to wheel that back into the pit lane entry, but Lewis Hamilton out there, not sure what his last lap time, what his lap time would have even been. Still yet to see exactly what occurred. Was it just a big lock-up from Lewis? Of course, the Ferrari wasn't looking very good, so yeah, they did remove the yellow flag, thankfully, and Ollie Bearman is okay. So they waited for Ollie Bearman, who was the last driver to cross the checkered flag there. No, sorry, Gabriel Bortoleto was. So Bortoleto is safe. Nico Hulkenberg is out in P17. So no doubt Nico Hulkenberg is going to score points tomorrow, as the last 4 races he has been in, he is finished or qualified outside of the top 15 and has scored points and a podium, including that as well. But still yet to see an exact replay of what happened with Lewis Hamilton, but we have lost Alex Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, Lewis Hamilton, yes, Lewis Hamilton, you heard me that correctly, and Franco Colapinto and Kimi Antonelli as well down there in P20. So Kimi Antonelli had a big spin through FP1. So Lewis Hamilton has got going again, as you can see from his icon. He just waited patiently for everyone to come through in a safe manner, but that is not good enough for Lewis Hamilton. So watching the replay now as he makes his way through Blanchimont on his way down into the bus stop chicane. What happened for him? Oh my goodness, the rear locked and he went into a spin. Looks like he maybe touched the left rear onto the painted line, but that is a very, very uncharacteristic loss of car control by Lewis Hamilton. It looks like he's braked on the white line of the outside curb, and the rear has just gone round on him. I'd love to see a rear shot of that, or another outboard shot of that of Lewis Hamilton, but that's very, very uncharacteristic for him. But yeah, he was complaining about the rear locking earlier on in FP1. Is that maybe a reoccurrence there of that potential issue? We will see what Lewis Hamilton's faults are in the interviews afterwards. But yes, that has unfortunately meant that Lewis Hamilton is out in sprint quali, and well, he will be starting 18th tomorrow. So yeah, not good news for Ferrari or Lewis Hamilton with a brand new rear suspension. You can't wear the shirt twice weekends in a row. It brings back the curse. Maybe you guys have got fat. Maybe you guys have got a point. Is it the shirt? Is it the shirt? No, it's not the shirt. Watch Charles get pole now. Watch Charles get pole. Will Albon and Bearman have their time removed? No, I don't think so. So what they did, they threw the yellow and then they removed it. And then it was once the cars came through that they threw the yellow again, I think. So, yeah, no, they were okay. Lewis Hamilton's car was parked, like, on the inside here. Like, at the, kind of like here. He was parked away in a safe manner, so they could see it. But, yeah. Stop wearing the damn shirt. It's staying on. At least for today. At least for today. How many months do you remember now, Camo? You're at least 2 months with the Reds. I think Red's 2 months. Let me have a double check. Let me have a double check. What we got? 2 months, yes. You're between 2 to 6 months. 6 months is when you get the green one. So, I think I can see what levels you are. 2 months, yeah. Bring the co-host. No, she's watching Dougie at the moment. We're going to leave her be. We're going to leave her be. I'm not looking at her. She's looking at me right now, and I'm not looking at her. She needs to go back looking at Dougie. If only the poo wasn't contained to the nappy. Fair enough, fair enough. Just joined. Hamilton out. Yeah, Hamilton out. So it was a bit of an odd one. So I think what's happened is that he's lost grip. And I think what happened, it looks like he's touched the white line on his left rear. And he's been complaining about the rears locking in FP1. And I think what's happened is that that's caused the rears to lock again under braking there. And he's just lost grip and it's gone round on him. That's what it seems like. See what Lewis Hamilton's assessment is afterwards. I need to see an outboard shot, but that's what it primarily looked like. Something very odd of a driver of Lewis Hamilton's experience to make that mistake. So it's not something that you normally see. But nonetheless, he is out in SQ1, so... Ferrari has become glorified car to drive for former multiple champions. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, look, the team obviously has not been operationally in a good place for a long time. But Lewis has been, I don't know if you've noticed this in his interviews recently, is that he's been drumming home the fact that this isn't his, this isn't his car. This ain't my car. This is not my car. I'm working closely with the engineers on a development for 2026. So he's making the point that he's inherited this car and it's not to his liking, which I don't think any car in this set of regulations set would be to his liking, to be honest with you. They're too big, they're too heavy, they're not to his driving style. As Lewis Hamilton's... okay, so just watching an onboard now of Lewis Hamilton's, not mistake, but the reason his first lap time was so slow and his last sector was so slow was because he got caught. He was following Kimi Antonelli and he caught the gravel, which meant he went very wide through Stavlo, which is turn 14. So, yeah. So Anthony Davison is saying, he didn't even mention the white line just there. He is saying you can hear in the gearbox that there's something wrong with the car and it's not Lewis's fault. It's actually something fundamentally wrong with the Ferrari there. So that's a mechanical issue with the Ferrari in the gearbox and in downshifts that has caused the rear to lock and to go into a spin. So he was complaining about that in FP1 as well. So... but that's the worst thing that obviously can possibly happen for him at the last corner as well, of all places. So, but I still think there might be an element of the white line. It looked very close. Could be wrong. But Anthony Davison knows a lot more than I do. So I trust Anthony Davison's analysis. He's always pretty spot on. So just one race weekend with problems for Ferrari is all you need. Acknowledge Hadjar. Yeah, Hadjar got through. Lawson got through. Both good qualies thus far for them to get through. So, both ahead of Tsunoda as well. But yeah, Lewis looks very dejected walking back. But new rear suspension doesn't seem to have had the desired effect thus far. We'll see how Charles Leclerc gets on. But Charles Leclerc didn't look comfortable either, did he, in PA? I know it's on the medium tyre. But still, you still expect Leclerc to be quicker than Alonso, Hadjar and Stroll, don't you? So... also with Antonelli. Antonelli had a big spin through turn 14 in his first attempt. And then because of that, he didn't really have any grip on his medium tyres when it came to another push lap. So that's why he is down in 20th. Colapinto, we did say Colapinto in FP1, didn't we? He needs a confidence-building weekend, and 19th is not very good for him, of course. Gasly only just snuck through anyway in P15, so... the Alpine doesn't look to be particularly strong here at the early stages of this weekend. We can see teams build into this week, into sprint race weekends, though, of course, with only 1 hour practice that all the teams have had available to them with FP1. Drivers and teams are able to change the setups of the car after the sprint race tomorrow before qualifying for the main race on Sunday. So we do see improvements from some teams. But yeah, SQ2 starts in just a couple of minutes, guys, just over 2 minutes' time. So... what will be investigated after the session? After the session, it will be just the maximum delta times, which they always just... yeah. Gasly wouldn't have been out Gasly would have been out anyways if it wasn't for Lewis and Kimi. Yeah, so the Alpine, I don't expect him to make too much ground up, to be honest with you. Why Yellow's cleaning gravel off the track. Where will Bottas go? Bottas is Cadillac or nothing, in my opinion. There obviously have still been some rumours about Alpine for this season, but I think Caddy is probably where they're looking at attaining him. Perez and maybe Valtteri Bottas, which wouldn't be too bad of a lineup, to be honest with you. For the early stages of their being Cadillac on the F1 grid, two experienced drivers who've both got race wins behind them, who in recent times were at top teams. They can bring that knowledge, help develop the car, help develop the team, and then when they bring the brand new engine in and the regs change slightly again, 2029, bosh, bring in some youngsters. You think Max Mercedes move are true? I genuinely think that he has had negotiations with them and contract talks for sure. But I think now with the dismissal of Christian Horner, I think the Verstappen camp have got what they wanted, and they're now going to stay with Red Bull at least until the end of 2026. That's my opinion. That was always my opinion, and it now seems to be the case. So, because there's no guarantee that Mercedes are going to create the best engine. That's what everyone's assuming. And he already earns people go, yeah, but what about the money? He's already earning 55 million a minimum a year anyway from his base contract, let alone bonuses and all that extra stuff. So, yeah, money isn't the be-all and end-all for him because he's got more than he could ever imagine. Lewis spun on the white line. I think there's part of that, Den. Yes, that was my initial assessment. Listening back to the onboard and listening to Anthony Davidson's analysis, he did say that it sounds like that there's like a spin up of the gearbox. Basically, you can hear the clunking of the gearbox as he's downshifting, which is very uncharacteristic of any F1 car. And it sounds like it was a mechanical issue that is outside of Lewis's control. Anyone would spin in that scenario. So but here we go. Only 10 minutes remaining now of SQ2. So that will be reduced down to 8 minutes when it comes to SQ3, where we'll be back on the soft compound tyre. So this session is on the medium compound tyre, guys. So we will see drivers out there very shortly. How many laps will they be able to get in? I still think 2 is what we'll see. Of course, it's a very long track here, longest on the calendar. Let's see if anyone's going to go out there early and try and set in a banker lap. But of course, they need to be wary of the amount of medium tyres, medium compound tyres that they use. I'd be surprised if anyone goes out there on a set of used mediums, because you're just going to lose time unnecessarily. So let's see who's will do that, but I think they're going to be putting themselves at a massive detriment and massively on the back foot if they decide to go out there on the same set they were on previously. But we will see, as we do have the McLarens going out there first. Interesting. I think Max will stay. Max has said if he wants to end his career, yeah, there's always that stuff, Lee, but I take that with a big pinch of salt, to be honest with you. So Albon's ready, was told to stay in mode 3, whatever that may be. He lets out a sigh, asked if there's anything he can do. They say, no, stay out. I can only fix on garage. Why bring upgrades on a sprint weekend? They've clearly got issues with the engine, though. I don't think it's not aero dependent with... I don't think it's so much aero dependent with Williams. I think they're just genuinely having power unit issues, as the many retirements have stated with them. Of course, their main issue is cooling. That's pretty much it. So they've had to sacrifice performance to ensure that the engine finishes a race. And yeah, they've obviously tried to do it step by step. And Silverstone was the first time that we've seen them finish a race, or Alex Albon finish a race in 4 races it was. So James Vowles even said that in an interview, that I think in a YouTube video, actually, like a post-debrief video, saying that they're just having to try and really cool down the car. So a lot of their updates will be in relation to cooling, but they're still evidently having issues with the power unit, which Sainz had in FP1, and changing a power unit mode there will mean exactly the same thing. So not good for Williams at the moment. Is the Ferrari team cursed? Don't know. This shirt isn't cursed. Don't worry, guys, it won't be here tomorrow. But Piastri and Norris, the only drivers out there. So they're on a brand new set of mediums. And, well, they will be hoping to get at least a clean lap here. It doesn't seem like anyone's willing to leave the pit lane at the moment, which indicates to me, really, that we're just going to see a single lap shootout here, guys, on the medium compound tyre. We haven't seen that this season at all in the sprint format. That is the nature of Spa. That is the nature of this being the longest lap on the calendar. So yes, intriguing times here. But let's see how Norris and Piastri fare. Of course, we've seen Piastri have, at the moment, on the push laps that we've seen 2 push laps from Norris and Piastri, one in FP1 and one in SQ1, and Piastri has had the better of his teammate at the moment. But let's see if Norris can try and peg it back to 2-1, as he is currently 2-0 down at the moment. But of course, it all matters in SQ3 and in Q3, as Norris has so often found himself finding out, being fastest in FP1 and SQ1, or all the Q1 sessions. Q3 is where it matters. So 30.279 for Lando Norris. That is not as quick as it was in Q1. So let's see if Piastri is able to improve there on that lap time. He can indeed. So Piastri has the better of Lando Norris at the moment. So Piastri having a much better exit through turn 1 at the moment compared to his teammate, it seems, unless there is a conscious setup difference, which is costing Lando Norris maybe some top speed compared to his teammate. But Piastri has been quicker in the middle sector over his teammates throughout as well. So let's see as they make their way through turn 12 and 13. Piastri making his way through the fast left-hander Pouon. Brilliant corner here on this brilliant Spa-Francorchamps circuit, which is currently blue skies at the moment. A few clouds in the air, but no sign of rain, as Norris makes his way down the back straight. A 43.623 from here, making his way through Blanchimont. Let's see how he fares as Piastri sticks another 10th on his teammate. So he's currently 3 tenths up around that margin at the moment on this lap. The two drivers trying to get banker laps in early here so that they can just dive back into the pit lane. You do think this will be comfortable for the two McLarens, even going out this early with maybe track evolution. A 42.182 for Norris. Yeah, that should be comfortable for him. And Piastri, well, can he go sub 42 seconds again, just like he did in the first Q1 session? And well, he can indeed. Another 41.7. So at the moment, Piastri has the better of Lando Norris over a single lap from what we've seen in the early stages of this weekend. Max Verstappen out there. He will be the next driver. Charles Leclerc, Yuki Tsunoda. Still drivers waiting. As, oh, Piastri has had his lap time deleted. Oh, drama here. Piastri's going to have to go again. Piastri is going to have to go again, as he has had his lap time deleted for track limits at turn 4. So that was through Eau Rouge, Radion. How has he exceeded track limits through Radion? I mean, let's be fair. I've done that plenty of time in the sim on iRacing, but to do it in real life, that's interesting. We will see where that has actually occurred. Did he go over Radion, the top of Eau Rouge? Did he go through that a bit too much, or did he run wide out of there? I thought that's very tricky to do in real life. So I'm watching the replay now, and yes, yeah, he cut. Oh, slow down for Oscar Piastri. Slow down for in iRacing. That'd be a slowdown. So. It's a track limits violation for Oscar Piastri there through Radion, so he's going to have to go again. Bit of pressure here for Oscar Piastri, but Lando Norris, you do suspect, with a 42.1 is comfortable. You do suspect, even on a second push lap, Oscar Piastri will be safe, but nonetheless, he'll have to maybe dial it back just a little bit to ensure that he doesn't exceed track limits. But let's see how they fare. But let's keep an eye on Max Verstappen, shall we? Here's the next driver to cross the checkered flag. Let's see how he fares as he's making his way through the first sector. And oh my goodness, a 28.873. That's the fastest first sector we have seen from anyone today. That is super quick from Max Verstappen. Let's see how he fares through the middle sector as he makes his way through No Name. Max Verstappen, very, very experienced through here at Spa. So just watching the replay again of Oscar Piastri with his lap time deleted. And it's the smallest of margins, but yeah, it looks like he just maybe touched the curb a little. It looks like he got a bit of wash of understeer through the middle of Eau Rouge, and it just pushed him out ever so slightly to the exit of Radion there, through Eau Rouge and at the top of Radion. So. Yeah, but Max Verstappen, a 43.647 in the middle sector, and that's the quickest second sector he has had all day as well. So this is going to be, barring a good bus stop here. This is going to be a fast lap from Max Verstappen and potentially a sub 42 seconds. Let's see how he fares. So let's hope that there's no rear lock-in from him, just like Lewis Hamilton had down into the braking of the bus stop. No, so Max Verstappen is okay, and this should be a very solid banker lap for Max Verstappen. Only the one attempt needed, and it is a 41.5. That is the fastest lap we have seen today. A 41.7 from Oscar Piastri in SQ1, and of course earlier on, but that was deleted from him, as Oscar Piastri is comfortably nice and quick there in the first sector. A 30-second flat for him. Charles Leclerc pumps in a fastest last sector there and also does a 41.7. That's better from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. You can see Lando Norris, well, he's 6 tenths off Max Verstappen and 4 tenths off Charles Leclerc. Let's see how this fares for the McLaren drivers. Will Lando Norris be safe? We will see. As we can see that who is on a flying lap at the moment. So George Russell. Let's keep an eye on George Russell, shall we? As Yuki Tsunoda has had to bail out of his lap. Yuki Tsunoda, a 70-second middle sector. What has happened to Yuki there? He's had a very, very slow sector, middle sector, so Yuki Tsunoda will be out in Q2, unless he's going to get an opportunity to go again. It depends on whether or not he's got enough battery, whether he's got enough, whether he's got those tyres in the right temperature window. We will see, but you can see there, 42 seconds back. Oscar Piastri only 5 tenths back from Max Verstappen, so that wasn't good for the two McLarens there overall. While it is slightly quicker than that of Lando Norris, of course, he would have had to have dialed back a little bit and make sure he stayed within track limits, and it was a second push lap. That's considerably slower than what we know Oscar Piastri and those McLarens can do, as Ocon goes fastest in the first sector. Unbelievable there for Esteban Ocon, a 29.8 for him. Let's see how the Haas fares. We have seen them drop off a little bit in the middle sector, though, of course, with that top speed that they have as Yuki. Oh, that's much better from Yuki. A 29.8 in the middle sector, first sector. Let's see if he can keep it together in the middle and get through to Q3. What a confidence booster that will be for Yuki Tsunoda heading into this weekend. George Russell only into P5, 7.5 tenths back from Max Verstappen. That is slow from George Russell, but is anyone else going to be able to beat his time? We will see as Stroll moves up into P6 there. So Stroll 1.2 seconds back. He's potentially at risk. Yuki Tsunoda, we know, is definitely at risk as Isaac Hadjar goes ahead of the two McLarens. Wow, what a lap time from Isaac Hadjar as Lawson splits the two McLarens there. So yes, we can see here track evolution is key. The later you go out, the quicker you can go. As Fernando Alonso goes into P8 and pushes his teammate Lance Stroll down into P9. So Stroll most definitely at risk. Yuki seems to be faring quite well as Sainz goes up into P3 and does a 42 flat there. Can Lando Norris hold on here? I think he potentially can. We'll see how well Ocon goes P3. Lando Norris is only 3 positions away. We have 4 drivers remaining. Lando Norris is at risk here. Yuki Tsunoda could push him on the edge. Bortoletto's improving. Oh, Yuki slots in just behind Lando. Lando survives just. Bortoletto pushes Lando into P10. What about Pierre Gasly? Pierre Gasly seems to be flying, but Lando's gone again. He's had enough time for another push lap. He's got purple in the middle sector. He's currently at risk. Pierre Gasly, can he push Lando into the drop zone? He can. It's all about the last chicane for Lando Norris on the bus stop through turn 18 and turn 19. Can he keep it together? That's all he needs to do. Pressure moments here for Lando Norris. Otherwise, he is out of SQ2 and will not be making it through into SQ3. Is it enough for Lando Norris? It is when it matters. But boy, did the McLarens leave it close as Oscar Piastri makes it through by 0.04 of a second into SQ3. Lando Norris at the very end there gets into SQ2. Out of SQ2 into SQ3, and well, we have lost Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, George Russell, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, and well, Wally Behrman and Esteban Ocon have made their way through into SQ3, as has Gabriel Bortoletto, as has Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly, one of the outstanding performers of recent, where he has no right to put that Alpine into Q3 as often as he does, but wow, that was close by McLaren. What were they playing at? What were they playing at? They thought they had a bit more of a buffer than they initially thought, but woof. That was interesting. That was interesting there. Lando, very lucky he had enough time to do another push lap, but that is cutting it fine as they panned to his mother on the TV coverage, and she takes a massive sigh of relief there, thinking exactly what we all are. What are you playing at, McLaren? What are you playing at? my goodness. Oh, my goodness. But Haas. Right, Ollie Bearman. Just make sure you pay attention to any yellow and red flags that may be thrown in SQ3. Just pay attention to them. Ensure that you do not pick up a ridiculous 10-place grid penalty again, please. Oh. But yeah, that was a bit closer than it needed to be, guys. It was a bit closer than it needed to be. But if you're enjoying the stream, big thank you, by the way. I'm going to end the poll. Unsurprisingly, I forgot to end the poll. But you guys overwhelmingly thought that Oscar Piastri will get pole position. Max Verstappen second. Oh, not many of you have faith in Lando Norris, surprising there. But yes, hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Let's get this stream to 1,000 likes. And if you could subscribe as well, much appreciated. Trying to hit 55,000 subs. The Haas duo and Bortoletto, a big surprise. Yeah, Bortoletto has really found some pace recently in that stake, and he's showcasing what he can do, showcasing why he is a back-to-back F3 and F2 champion. So, yeah, great to see. 2 attempts to get lap record. Is that where we're at? I think we're easily going to see it. We're easily going to see it because SQ3 is on the soft compound tyre. What happened to George Russell? I don't know. I just don't think the Mercedes is performing that well, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it's performing that well. Yuki Tsunoda, while it's only 0.02 of a second, out-qualified by Liam Lawson again. Out-qualified by Isaac Hadjar again. Not good. Not good. Ferrari should have followed Haas's development. Sauber had a prime moment. Now it's Haas's turn. Yeah, the Haas, I mean, Bearman and Ocon, very good lap times there. I mean, they've been quick. Let's have a look at the sector time, shall we? And this is the disappointing thing for Yuki, really, is that, look, Yuki, Sector 1, second fastest through Sector 1. We've got the 2 Haases fast in the top 3 when it comes to Sector 1. Middle sector, we know that's where the McLarens are super strong, and that's where they really gain a lot of their lap time over the rest of the field. I mean, Norris there did 3 attempts faster than Piastri and Hadjar, and 4 attempts faster than Verstappen. That's ridiculous. But Tsunoda's middle sector of 44.2 there, and then we can see that his last sector 28.1, not far off of Gasly, but it's the middle sector really which is costing him so much time. A full second off of Lando Norris there. So yeah. And let's have a look at top speeds. Now, top speeds can be a little bit skewed because of toes and so forth, but we can still see there the constant is that Ocon and Bearman fastest up there, 3.46 compared to Hulkenberg's 3.48, who went out in Q1, by the way. You can see here, Norris and Piastri are in the bottom 5 when it comes to, well, just out nearly the bottom 5, bottom 6 when it comes to top speed in Q Sector 1. So, yeah, interesting. Lando only 1/10 quicker than the track with the track evolution. Only 1/10 quicker? Yeah, well, yeah, 1/10 quicker, but then you can also say that he was on a second push lap. So he's got potential to go even quicker on that set of mediums than Max. So because Max did it on a fresh set, whereas Lando did it on his second push lap. So yeah, definite improvements for both McLarens, really. Oscar Piastri, of course, he's 41.7. He's 41.7 would have been fine in the obviously where Charles Leclerc was third, so it would have put him third probably. His lap time got deleted, but that's all his own doing, really. It's the smallest of margins, but he was outside of the white lines, which is what put him under pressure in the second run. So yeah, just getting through there, Piastri by the skin of his teeth, as well as Lando Norris as well, having to do that last lap very quick. So I think they've gone for a wet setup because of Saturday and the rain. What, the McLarens? Maybe, Steve-O. I mean, this is what they have to look at. This is definitely what they have to look at. So I'm looking at a weather report for tomorrow, and it's looking like it's going to be... It's 6% chance of rain for the sprint race tomorrow. Let's have a look and see. I mean, that's one weather report, but you look at some other weather reports, and they say tomorrow is 20% chance of rain. So, yeah, I don't know. No idea at Spa. So, Sunday looks like it's going to be rain. Every weather report I've seen for Sunday just says rain. So yeah, I think that's the constant for Sunday. But they are allowed to change their setups, of course, after the sprint race tomorrow morning. So they are able to analyse any of the data that they've gathered from the sprint quali and from the sprint race, and then make those setups accordingly to how they want for qualifying Saturday afternoon. So, but you okay there? You're taking all your toys out of your basket and you're just down to a bare basket now, aren't you? It will change definitely. I've been to Bavaria and the weather changes in minutes. Yeah, and that's the beauty of Spa as well, is because it is such a long circuit and because it does have big altitude changes, there are certain parts of this circuit that can see rain and the rest of it cannot. And it makes it very, it makes it a real big challenge, so. Anyone in Canada getting TV of F1? You don't need TV of F1, Jeff, when you've got this watch-along. And thank you for everyone for subscribing. 51,000 subs. Big thank you. Much appreciated. Let's crack on. Let's continue on. 100k by the end of the year. 100k by the end of the year. Can we get that silver plaque as a nice Christmas present? It'll be our Christmas present. How do I watch F1? I watch F1 through this. I genuinely do. I watch F1 through the data now and through providing you guys the watch-alongs. I feel like you get a proper overall view of how the race is unfolding. TV coverage is great, but I feel like you miss out a lot. So I have TV coverage here in the UK, which you cannot see, which I use as a replay tool. It's on a slight delay compared to the data. But yeah, I feel like you miss out so much on the TV coverage now these days. The commentators do the best with what they've got available to them because unfortunately, when I watch back highlights and so forth, the lack of data is, off-putting, to be honest with you. Thank you, Karen. You come from the future. Max gets second in quali and wins the race. Maybe. I think second he will not. If Max is on the front row or even third, he will not be too upset because he knows that he's got considerably more top speed than the McLarens in that Sector 1, which of course is full throttle all the way from the first corner down to turn 5. He can potentially lead comfortably down into turn 5 by the end of the start of the sprint race tomorrow. So, and then I think the McLarens have got, if it's dry, I think the McLarens have really got their work cut out for them in trying to get back past. So, I need a platinum trophy because I'm the best. Oh, thank you. You know when people say they don't like compliments, keep them coming. It fuels me. I know. We've got one more quali session and then you've got my undivided attention. Right, we have just a couple of minutes until SQ3 gets underway, just over 2 minutes. So bear with me. I'm just going to sort little one out of her toys because they've got out of her reach. And then we will have SQ3, which will be, no doubt, a one-lap shootout, only 8 minutes on the soft compound tyre. Let's go. No chance, no room for errors. No room for errors. And we've already seen a few. What we got here, eh? Look at all your toys. Badge afterwards. Who's the toy? Oh. There we go. There we go. She's got everything back now. What did I do? I did everything's fine. I went out the room to go fetch another toy for her. Is that where you going? Right. Here we go, guys. Here we go. There's a Mrs. Fats. No, she's worked. You just tipped all. Oh my goodness! She's just tipped the whole basket upside down. Right. Green light. Pit exit open. Q3. Here we go. So 8 minutes. It's going to be probably about 3 minutes of sitting in the pit lane, and then everyone will make their way out for their out lap, and then it'll be push lap. That's what we do here, no doubt, especially at this long circuit, as far as what normally is the case with SQ3, and especially with the soft compound tyre now in use. She keeps reaching for the Ferrari badge on this, because it's like, yeah. I wonder if Leclerc is still running an extreme setup. Yeah, I haven't seen his rear wing, to be honest with you. Maybe, potentially, we'll see how it... I mean, this is the thing, is that this order could completely change come tomorrow. A lot of teams may have gambled on the dry setup to ensure that they've got that top speed. I mean, Haas, I'm a bit concerned about Haas, to be honest with you. They're very quick in that first sector. I'm very concerned about if it rains tomorrow for the sprint race, because they may just completely fall off a cliff. But hopefully not, but we will see. We will see. But yeah, this order might not stay the same come the end of the sprint race tomorrow if the weather conditions do change. You saw qualifying 1, and then in the break everything disappeared. It says the channel is temporarily under maintenance. Oh dear. She seems to not be happy with Hamilton's sprint quali so far. I know, Jules. I know. You wish your quali timer was a bit longer for the longer circuit so we can see some more laps. I think that's the kind of that's the whole pretense behind sprint quali though. So even in the full quali, for the main race on Sunday, we will see 2 push laps at least. But that's the kind of like the whole... I quite like it like that. I quite like that the sprint quali, they could reduce the time down, to be honest with you, to about 6 minutes rather than make us sit around for 3 minutes. But mostly SQ3 is all about a 1-lap shootout, and that's why we have seen the likes of Hamilton on pole, why we have seen Kimi Antonelli on pole, because there's more pressure. You can't get that banker lap in. So to me, this track is the Euro Bathurst bucket list for sure. It's better. Controversial opinion, it's better than Bathurst, Mick. It's better than Bathurst. European bias, I don't care. Was there a car issue in Hamilton? It does sound like it was, yes. I mean, we'll see. I'm not sure if the white line played a role in it, but it does sound like that the gearbox, as he was shifting down through the gears, that there was clearly an issue there in causing the rear to lock up. Something that shouldn't happen. Lewis Hamilton is not inexperienced to downshift like he did into the bus stop and for the rear to spin round like it did. So, yeah, something wrong with that car. They've put a new rear suspension on it. They've got a couple of updates on it. He was complaining about the rears locking in FP1 as well. So potentially what was causing that in FP1 did the same in in that quali as well. So your prediction is still Max P1, Oscar P2 and Lando P3? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. They are checking. So, yeah, we're just waiting, guys. Of course, they've got 1 out lap, 1 push lap. That is what they've got. So, I reckon they'll probably go out around the 3-minute mark, 3.5-minute mark. So, if there's rain, what did you say? If there's rain on Sunday, doesn't that mean Hamilton will feel on ice as it's unstable? Maybe. I mean, there's probably setup changes they're able to make. But I don't know. I really don't know at the moment. Drivers will be coming out in a minute. Any minute now. As you can see, their icons moving and their speedometers there. You can see that they're coming to the end of the pit lane, so the 4-minute mark, a bit earlier than normal because of how long this lap is. So, yes, drivers making their way to the end of the pit lane. Is Lando using a higher downforce setup because he is slow in the first sector? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't paid too much attention to the TV coverage to see what rear wing configurations or what wing configurations Lando and Piastri are using. It may be the case, or it may be the case that Oscar is just getting a much better exit out of turn 1 than Lando's getting. But yeah, it is primarily due to your exit through turn 1, and then whether or not your car is quick enough in a straight line, pretty much, because it's full throttle all the way from the exit of turn 1 down into the braking zone of turn 5. So maybe. What if the toys falling in the upside down basket was a message? She's alright, she's watching Ducky. Yeah. You got your toys now. Yeah, they're all within reach. Right. Here we go, here we go. You're new to everyone and feel lost watching the broadcast commentary. Lucky you found my watch-along, which has so much on-screen, more on-screen data. I hope you get that. So thank you, Bobo. Much appreciated. And hopefully you're here for the commentary and the insightful analysis and opinions you get here as well. Look, ultimately, we've built a great community here that loves F1. I love chatting with you all. And yeah, as I said, I will always try and base any opinion that I have around logic. It's okay to disagree. But we always keep it fair and respectful here, and I'll always try and base things around logic rather than just pure emotion, which many do online now these days. But right, every driver out there on track at the moment, Isaac Hadjar will be the last to cross the line. So let's see how that fares for him, shall we? Because we have seen drivers who have gone out late in sessions with track evolution benefit from it. So could we see maybe Hadjar a bit higher than he maybe should be? Let's see if there's going to be if Norris going out first is actually a detriment to him. But the weather is lovely. Well, I said the weather's lovely. There is the sun poking through the clouds at some corners, but mostly it is quite cloudy out there. But it's dry. That's the big factor here at Spa. It's been dry Friday. It's been a dry Friday. So let's see how Lando Norris fares here. 1 lap shootout. This is all these drivers have available to them at the longest circuit on the calendar. 1 lap is all they're going to have here in this SQ3 session. They've done 2 laps, 2 sessions on the mediums. Now it's for the softs. And let's see how Lando Norris fares with Max Verstappen starting his lap as well down into the braking zone of turn 1, which is La Source. Lando makes his way all the way through into turn 5. Let's see how he fares. What is his lap time going to be? They've been pretty slow through that first sector, the 2 McLarens. And, well, that's not a good first sector for Lando Norris. That's probably his slowest first sector for quite some time in qualifying. Let's see how he fares as he makes his way down into turn 8, then into no name, which is turn 9. Max Verstappen's been very quick for the first sector all day. And there we go. Yes, a 29.869 as the little one agrees. And she is excited about Max Verstappen's first sector there. Let's see if he can follow it up with a brilliant second sector. Has he made setup changes, which we've seen him fight and split the 2 McLarens at the top in both of the sessions as Charles Leclerc does a 30 flat there, does a 30 flat. He's fastest in the first sector, but we know those McLarens regain all the time that they lose in that first sector in the middle sector, as it's a 43.0 from Lando Norris in the middle sector. That is obscene. That's half a second quicker than anything Oscar Piastri has been able to do today thus far, but we do suspect Oscar, who is following him who is the third car out there, we do suspect he'll do it. Ocon's done a 29.7. What have they put in those Haas cars as Norris makes his way out to the bus stop chicane? What lap time can Norris set? And it's a 41.1. Wow, a purple last sector, the fastest we have seen today. That is a mega middle and last sector from Lando Norris. But Oscar Piastri's gone 3 tenths quicker than his teammate in the first middle sector. He's 2 tenths up in the middle as Verstappen takes provisional pole, and he's currently ahead of Lando Norris. But Oscar Piastri looks like he has this in the bag with a brilliant middle sector, and he's gone purple in the last sector and put 6 tenths on his teammate. 4 tenths, nearly half a second on Max Verstappen in the middle in P2. That is unbelievable. Charles Leclerc is 7.5 tenths back from Oscar Piastri. What was that lap from Oscar Piastri? Carlos Sainz moves into P5. How about Esteban Ocon? He is going quite nicely, but he's lost quite a considerable amount of time in the middle sector of 43.8. Ollie Behrman also lost quite a lot of time in the middle sector as well. And Ocon comes across the line and only can go P5, but that's still a good showing from him. Ollie Behrman, can he get ahead of Williams? No, he cannot. Let's see how they fare with Gabriel Bortoleto and Pierre Gasly. Those are the drivers. Piastri has got pole position for tomorrow, but Verstappen will be all in his rearview mirrors when it comes to the start and down the Kemmel Straight into turn 5 for that sprint race tomorrow with rain in the air. Pierre Gasly in that Alpine. He has no right to be in Q3 as often as he does, and he's currently in P8. How about Gabriel Bortoleto? Bortoleto. Can he be the best of the rest and get up into P5? No, he can't. How about Isaac Hadjar? Isaac Hadjar's had a bit of a slow first and second sector. Isaac Hadjar, where can he go? Only up into P9. And, well, that is the end of the sprint quali. But that lap from Oscar Piastri is blooming ridiculous. That is blooming ridiculous from Oscar Piastri there. What has he is a man scorned after having his first lap time deleted and having to work so hard to get into Q3, because that middle sector was 3/10 quicker than his teammate. It was his last sector, pardon me, which we'll look at in a second, was 2/10 quicker than his teammate. That is ridiculous. Max Verstappen, of course, I'm not ignoring Max. He is in second place. He is quicker than that of Lando Norris. His first sector was very quick. Middle sector wasn't too shabby either, and his last sector. So Max wrestling that Red Bull around again. Wow, what a lap from Piastri. Those guys who said that Oscar Piastri would be on pole position, well, there you go. Oscar Piastri on pole position. He will be looking to extend his championship lead tomorrow, of course, with Lando Norris in P3. Max Verstappen in between the two McLarens, though. Do not be surprised if you see Max Verstappen ahead of both McLarens when it comes to the end of the first lap tomorrow. Most importantly, down at the end of the Kemmel Straight into turn 5. Charles Leclerc is in P4, 7.5 tenths back from Oscar Piastri's pole position. Wow. Esteban Ocon a full second back in P5. What a lap from Ocon, but I'm worried if it rains tomorrow that they'll be a bit on the back foot with how quick their car is in a straight line. Fastest in the first sector, both Haas's are in 1 and 2. Carlos Sainz in P6. Finally, the Sainz has had a decent qualifying performance, even though it is only in the sprint race. Hopefully, it's something he can build up upon, especially with his teammate down in 16th. Pierre Behrman in 7th, Gasly in 8th, Hadjar 9th, Bortoleto in 10th. They will be absolutely over the moon that they are in Q3, but a little bit disappointed that they're not starting higher, as there was an opportunity for them to get up as high as P5 as Esteban Ocon finds himself. Liam Lawson in P11, Yuki Tsunoda in P12, Russell in P13, Fernando Alonso is 14th, Stroll is 15th, Albon is in 16th, Hulkenberg is 17th, Hamilton is 18th, and we have Colapinto 19th and Antonelli 20th. And that is our sprint race grid for tomorrow, with rain on the horizon. Depending which weather report you look at, it could be a tasty Saturday tomorrow. A very tasty Saturday. Jackie, I'm sure like me, you are completely annoyed with Ferrari. They're not delivering a decent car to Charles or Lewis. Absolutely hate the sprints. Can't see the reasoning. I've come round to the sprints a little bit, to be honest with you. I do wish that we maybe went to some different circuits for the sprint races, but I have kind of come round to them. I think the fact of it, it's taken a few years, but they've been able to find a way where the sprint races fit into the weekend, and especially with them allowing to change setup from the sprint race to qualifying, means that we do then end up getting a shift up of the order, and we don't necessarily have the sprint race just be a preview of the first stint of the race on Sunday. But yes, I agree. Ferrari, look, it's the last year of these regulations. I still think that they made I don't know. I still think that overall they've made a mistake by changing their suspension concept from pull rod to push rod, I think it is. Whichever one they went to. Something that they've never done before, and it seems to have completely backfired on them. But they know more than me. I think they said that it was supposedly they changed it because they'd hit a ceiling with the current concept, but with that concept, even though they were joint fastest car at the end of the season with McLaren, so you look at how McLaren's moved forward and kicked on, and Ferrari haven't. So yeah, it just looks like it's more of a wrong decision from Ferrari's part than anything. But yeah, let's have a look at sector times, guys. Sorry. So here we go, sector times, and as you can see there, the Haas's are quickest in the first sector. First and second, super quick, those Haas's in the first sector. They're going to get involved at the start of the race tomorrow if it's dry. Because they're clearly losing a lot of time in the middle sector where they are running a much lower downforce setup. Look, Ocon's fastest, of course the McLarens are super quick, but Ocon's fastest middle sector was a full second slower than Oscar Piastri and Behrman's was over a second slower. Piastri quick in the last sector, as we saw, purple there, 2 tenths quicker than Lando Norris. So he's maximised his exit through turn 15, and then the bus stop just must have been absolutely supreme from Oscar Piastri there. Full committance from the Australian, looking to extend his championship lead. 8 points is the current gap. Of course, if he finishes first tomorrow, 8 points is available to him, with a 1 point difference from every point position down. So if Norris finishes second, he'd gain a point, and so on. And Verstappen's going to be trouble tomorrow at the start of the race for those 2 McLarens, for sure. And we have seen contact before and drama before at the end of the Kemmel Straight, even for Eau Rouge. So yeah. Can I not wear this shirt tomorrow? Yeah, I'll not wear this shirt tomorrow. It needs a wash. It can stay in the washing basket, so... was this faster than the W11? Was it? Really? Was it really faster than the W11? Wow. That is quick, isn't it? That is very quick. So, thank you guys. Much appreciated as always. Do I also live stream the actual races, not just the practices? Do you mean as in the like this? Yes. I do all the races. I do every session, basically. So yeah. But I can't show TV coverage because, of course, that is copyright infringement. So, sprints are sick, but they should definitely rotate circuits. I agree, Billy. Yeah, I agree. So, what happened to Lewis? So, Lewis, it looks like he had a mechanical issue with his gearbox that caused the rears to break, to lock. So, he was reporting that the rears were locking in FP1, and then as he was braking into the bus stop chicane, which is turn 18. As I said, I'm still not sure if the white line played a factor. However, it still shouldn't, in dry conditions, play that much of a factor and cause the rears to lock like it did. You'd expect it in the rain or much more slippery conditions, but it was very uncharacteristic of a driver of Lewis's experience for that to happen, which, upon Anthony Davidson on Sky, his analysis was, if you listen to the gearbox, you can hear as he's shifting down through the gears, there's like a clunkiness to it, and then it locks the rear axle, and then that's what sends him into a spin. So, yeah, I assume it looks like that's what's happened. The white line may have played a little bit of a factor, but not as much as maybe what I'm attributing to it. So, 10 out of 6 drivers in top 10 from mid-teams. Yeah, that's a really mixed up order, isn't it? It's a really mixed up order. So the weather for tomorrow, as I said, this is what I've got for weather tomorrow. This is just like a Google search, by the way. Saturday tomorrow, 20% chance of rain, 10% chance. So it may start where, what's AccuWeather saying? AccuWeather. Saturday's saying a bit dry, 25% chance. So it looks like there could be rain tomorrow, and then Sunday's like 70% into the 70% range. So, yeah. Watching the W11 through Pouhon is something else. Yeah, I'd like to see Oscar's lap there, to be fair, and see how he was through Pouhon as well. 1:33 AM, catch me tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow. Yeah! I've got to go see to little one in a second. How many laps is a sprint? I think it's 15, 16 laps, around that mark. So, do I collect F1 trading cards? No. 11 AM start. Yep. So when the stream ends, it will send you straight over to the stream, so you can check over there, which I'm going to do now because little one is absolutely shouting at me for her attention. So yes, big thank you guys as always. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for getting the channel over 51,000 subs. We'll be back tomorrow bright and early for the sprint race. We'll be live half an hour before it begins, with a little bit less background noise. Next time around, as the missus won't be working. But yeah, thank you as always. Interesting qualifying there. I wonder what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. Weather's going to play a big factor. I actually would like it to be dry tomorrow, I think, purely because of the first lap. I think that will provide, if it's dry tomorrow, the likes of Verstappen, the likes of Ocon, Behrman, they could be very quick at the start of the race, and they could potentially comfortably get ahead of a few of the drivers ahead of them. So yeah, we'll see. But thank you guys as always. We'll see you tomorrow. The stream is going to send you over to the stream right now. So hit that like button. I'll run a poll of who we think is going to win the race tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see you bright and early. See you then. Bye.